welcome to another installment of Liberty Nation Swamponomics videocast. I'm Andrew Moran, Ellen's economics correspondent. Each week, I dive into the mores of top economic news stories and fish out compelling narratives, or I retrieve fallacies that have been accepted as conventional wisdom by the swamp creatures for years. This week, get taxed. Many Americans are aware that President Joe Biden and the Democrats have proposed and continue to propose new taxes and a myriad of tax hikes to help cover their costs of the enormous Build Back Better spending sprees. Of course, there's still no word on how anyone in Washington plans to cover the already $5 trillion gaping hole in the federal budget. But while the elephants and donkeys go to war, taxpayers could endure legalized larceny at the state or local level as more jurisdictions put forward efforts to generate more revenues to fill the coffers. And now that the Federal Reserve is poised to end its muni bond purchases, states nationwide need a left raft, and it might come in the form of higher and new taxes. But who is suggesting nickeling and diming more Americans when inflation is running at a 4-decade high and the economy could be facing a time of stagflation? Illinois is currently debating House Bill 4424 that would permanently give each municipal government the power to install a 3-cent per gallon tax on gasoline. With gas prices approaching $4 a gallon, nearly 1,300 local governments could capture the power to penalize motorists whenever officials need some dough. This comes after Governor Pritzker doubled the gas tax. The state of California, which is making Texas and Florida great again, is deliberating new legislation that would institute a single-payer healthcare system and impose tax hikes that would equal $163 billion a year in extra revenues. The Golden State is assessing a few revenue generators at the same time: an increase to income taxes for high-income individuals, a payroll tax on workers' wages for companies of a certain size, and a gross receipts tax. The Massachusetts state legislature will put forward a millionaire's tax before voters in November. The government wants to enact a 4% penalty on anyone earning $1 million or more in income. Democrats inside the Washington legislature want to slap a new tax on gasoline and diesel shipped to Oregon, Idaho, and Alaska to cover infrastructure. Washington state wants a 6-cent a gallon tax on this fuel. Even localities across the state of Florida are championing sales tax hikes from Orange County to St. Johns County. For any state or city proposing immense budgets without tax hikes, such as Pennsylvania, the bill will eventually come due for the next generation or when a new regime is voted in. All three levels of government embarked upon massive spending schemes to cushion the economic blows from the coronavirus pandemic. Now that the country is potentially, and hopefully, waving goodbye to this global health crisis, more leaders, Republican and Democrat, will enact new taxes and tax hikes to ensure their finances do not worsen anymore. So, this is somewhat of the new normal in the post-pandemic economy. Unfortunately, Americans are penalized each way they turn. You have taxes on income. You have taxes on spending. You have taxes on living under a roof. You have taxes on driving your automobile to and from work to pay those taxes. And then perhaps you have the most egregious tax of them all, the inflation tax. Your dollar buys less. Eminent economist Milton Friedman said, quote, "Inflation is the only form of taxation that can be levied without any legislation." Or, as the great Howard Beale said in the 1976 film Network, "A buck buys a nickel's worth." That's it for me this week. Please read my full Swamponomics column where I discuss sexism and the MMT, supersized rate hikes at the Federal Reserve, and waning consumer sentiment. Thank you.
We're doing it for real, really real. Liberty Nation.
And Jeff Charles, contributor for LibertyNation.com.
I think we're starting to make an impact. Liberty style, fight for freedom.
The tracking poll sponsored by Liberty Nation for Thursday.
Mentioned by Dan Bongino, Rasmussen, Jordan Peterson, and
I
others.
can do it again if you want me to.
Cited in Mark Levin's American Marxism.
I think we're starting to make a really big impact. Get noticed. We're doing it. Rock on. I'm gone.